welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sonja J. And as you can see from the title, this video is going to be a little bit controversial today. Now, controversial topics are not really new to my channel. However, I've never really talked about the whole biphobic situation that's kind of been going on a little bit on YouTube, at least from my news feeds, from what I can see. And, you know, like the HIV stigma and the LGBTQ community. Like, I don't really talk about that too much because that's not really, it doesn't personally affect me, so I don't really talk about it too much. However, it has been on my news feed a lot lately, especially from two of my favorite YouTubers, which you see in the title. I watched a lot of Yanie's channel, and I watch a lot of her videos, and I also watch a lot of King of Reed's videos. And this little disagreement they got going on, and I just kind of feel like I want to weigh in on it, only because, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I live in California, and we're pretty much a little bit on lockdown right now, so I'm stuck in the house, ain't got shit to do, be honest. And then number two, honestly, I really like both these YouTubers, and I feel like it's a little bit of a misunderstanding as well. I watch Abba and Preach, I think I said his name right. I watch their videos. I don't really I'm not subscribed. I don't really watch their channel. I actually just heard about their channel from watching King of Reed's reaction video, and I seen their channel in the recommendation thing because, you know, he was talking about it in his video, so, you know, YouTube will recommend you the videos that are similar. And I seen what they had to say, and I also want to weigh out my thoughts about that situation as well. So let's get into it. So basically, with that being said, overall, King of Reed's is kind of a little bit in his feelings because he kind of feels like both Abba and Preach, as well as a little bit Real Talk with Yanie's channel, is being, I guess, biphobic, as well as helping create a negative stigma against people who are HIV positive. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and start with Real Talk with Yanie's channel with her videos and her responses. In my opinion, I don't feel like Yanie was disrespectful or biphobic or being like negative toward King of Reed's in any way. That's my opinion. Now, I do see both sides. I do a little bit see why King of Reed's feels some type of way about her. I'm not talking about Abba and Preach. We're going to get to them in a minute, but I'm just talking specifically about Yanie right now. Only thing I can say about Yanie that I can see why King of Reed's was a little bit in his feelings was the simple fact that she used his picture as her thumbnail. And when you read the title, it kind of gave off like negative vibes. But at the same time, I really don't feel like that's a bad thing because that's what you do on YouTube. Like, you use people's thumbnail, especially if you're talking about them in the video, whether it be negative or positive. You use their thumbnail sometimes. More times you do than you don't. Also, I don't really think the title was negative. He didn't say that, but I'm just saying that's the only way I can see him being annoyed. I don't necessarily think the title was negative, but I mean, when you look at the picture and you read the title, you can kind of feel like, oh, what is this? And that's what I felt when I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, okay. But other than that, I don't really feel like she did anything wrong in the video. She wasn't, in my opinion, she wasn't biphobic. I don't feel like she was. And also, I don't feel like she was bashing King of Reed's or saying anything rude or negative about his stance in any way. I mean, like 5 times in the video, and also in the other video she made, which I watched a few days ago, she said, like, his choice is his decision, and I respect that. I'm just giving my opinion. And that's what we do on YouTube. You know, we all give our opinion. We don't agree with each other all the time, but that's what you do on YouTube, especially if you're going to get paid for it, okay? And, I mean, I'm not, but they are. So, I mean, I didn't think she said anything biphobic or negative, or that's just my opinion, but I didn't get that. I really didn't get that. I feel like a lot of what she said was fair. You know, you have to look at it from each person's situation and where they're coming from. And if you look at it from her perspective, which obviously I can because I'm both a black woman like her as well as a heterosexual black woman. So it's like I understand what she's saying. You know, if there's men out here saying that they don't feel that they need to disclose their HIV positive status, then that's concerning to women who are fucking on men who are either down low or men who may be straight but they have their HIV positive or heterosexual. That's the correct term. So I understand her stance. I don't really think she said anything negative. That's just her stance on it because she's a woman, a heterosexual woman, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, as long as you're not disrespecting the person you're talking about in the process or saying like rude, biphobic words or I just feel like she didn't do any of that. Like, she didn't call him out his name. She didn't say, like, those, you know, she didn't say, I personally don't feel like she said anything disrespectful or negative. She just gave her opinion. She used him as an example because, you know, King of Reeds is kind of like known on YouTube. He's not the biggest YouTuber, but he has a name. He has, you know, he does his thing. And, he recently said what he said, and that was like a great example to talk about, especially with the whole LGBTQ community kind of being more of a topic in like the newer generation in the, you know, the last few years, as well as the whole Love is Blind situation with the Diamond, and I forgot that guy's name, but the guy who's bisexual, you know. So it was just kind of like, he was the perfect person to use as an example for what her video was about. But, you know, he has the right to feel how he feels. I'm not saying he's wrong to feel how he feels. I'm just saying I don't think she was disrespectful. I don't think that, you know, because in his video he said that he was going to make a video soon, you know, to respond to her and the other Abby and Preach channel. So in my opinion, I don't think she was negative or disrespectful. So that's just my opinion. But we're going to move on to Abba and Preach because that's a different opinion. Okay, so like with Abba and Preach is a little bit of a different story because like I feel like, okay, so like I said, I did agree with Yanie. I agree with her a little bit more because I don't feel like she was disrespectful. I just think that she said how she felt in her opinion, but she wasn't disrespectful towards King of Reeds or towards people who are biphobic as well. I think that as women or as people in general, we should have the right to choose if we want to be with someone who's bisexual, heterosexual, straight. I think we should have that right. I don't think that it's wrong for us to expect you to tell us. I mean, we can also ask too, and we're gonna get to that more later when I talk about how I feel about King of Reeds' stance. And I do agree with that. We should ask too, we shouldn't just assume. So I do agree with that. I see both sides. But like I said, I see both sides. I think we have the right to expect you to let us know, as well as we also should be able to ask. I think we can both be right in a way. However, I got more to say, so hold on. Now with Abba and Preach, I feel like I see why King of Reeds felt some type of way for real about what they said, because like I would say for the most part in both their videos, a lot of the things they said made sense. I do think that it is in some way irresponsible for you to not disclose your status, especially if you have a medical history that, not a medical history, but especially if you have a disease that can kill, you know. I do think that we should be able to disclose that. You know, I understand stigma is fucked up. The stigma, you know, behind HIV and any type of sexual transmitted disease, but especially like HIV that's like in AIDS and stuff, like the stigma on that is really like bad, and I get it. You know, but I do still agree with them that we should still, even if we don't ask, we should be able to expect you to disclose that eventually, because that's putting us at risk. However, there were some choice words that they used in their video that was offensive. They made like this joke when I guess King of Reeds like said like he doesn't think that if a person is HIV positive or has like you know, basically like any like sexually transmitted disease, that it's only their obligation to disclose that. And I think it was Preach who made a joke and was like, oh, I got cancer. No, it was him. He was like, oh, I got cancer listening to that. And then I think, if I remember correctly, it was Abba who said, no, you got AIDS listening to that. And they both started kind of like laughing at that. I know that made him feel some type of way, like, you know, because that joke wasn't funny. I don't think it was funny. I don't have HIV or AIDS, and I didn't even think that was funny. I do understand though, it's YouTube, and that's what you do when you're a commentator. You make jokes. You kind of sometimes make light of, you know, fucked up situations. So I'm not mad at it, but I personally didn't think it was funny, and I can see why King of Reeds was like, what is this biphobic, homophobic? Like, what is this? Like, and I get it. I get why he felt that way, as well as, like, you know, the negative stereotype behind HIV and AIDS, and then it's like you make a joke like, oh, I caught AIDS listening to that. Like, that wasn't funny. I can see why he felt that way, as well as, like, I do think for the most part the video was serious, and I think their points were valid, but there was a little bit of snickering here and there, and it kind of, like, gave off, like, there were parts where I was like, I understand what they're saying, I get it, and this is serious. And then there were parts where I'm like, ooh, stop being petty. Like, especially at the end, I think it was the second video they made. I forgot which one, but at the end, and he was like, Preach was like, sharing is caring, but he was like, not the disease, but the information. And he started, like, he thought that was so funny, and he was like dying laughing and fell back and was laughing. And like, I can see, like, feeling and pretending like I have HIV, I can see how that's not funny, because it's like you're laughing at that. You're laughing at, like, oh, haha, we don't want to catch that, but it's like I have that. That's not funny. And I can see how that's offensive, how that gives off like phobic vibes. I get it. I can see that. Even though there were a lot of parts of the video that I did agree with, there were a lot of parts of the video I understood where they were coming from. But then it's like, even though it was only like 2 little moments, for somebody who is going through it and is serious about the movement, those 2 moments could have just killed it and just been like, now I feel some type of way because everything you said just went out the window. I can see that. Am I saying that their video was wrong and I don't agree with it? No, I do agree with some parts, but I didn't agree with those parts, and I do understand how King of Reeds, as well as anybody who is living with HIV, can see that video and be very offended. You know, the AIDS joke alone wasn't funny. That alone wasn't funny, and then, you know, the laugh at the end, like, I get it, it was a joke. I get it. No, I genuinely get it, because I don't have HIV. However, if I was living with HIV, I would have been offended. So I see that. So, you know, let's talk about King of Reeds, you know. Now, I feel like I said, with the whole Yanie situation, I don't think that, I hope, King, please don't come for Yanie, because I don't think she did anything wrong. I really don't think that she said anything disrespectful. He ain't gonna watch this video, he gonna see this shit. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think she did anything disrespectful. That's my opinion. Now, Abba and Preach, now, I can see why you felt the way you felt when it comes to those 2 things that they said. However, okay, if you want to, you can come for me, okay? I don't got much of a background. I ain't getting paid for this channel, and I don't got no nice camera, so you can come for me if you want to. But, like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not disrespecting nobody, I'm gonna just be honest. I do a little bit agree with Yanie and Abba and Preach when they say that whenever you make your clapback videos, at least from the videos that you clap back on when it comes to Yanie and Abba and Preach. I don't know about anybody else. I'm just talking about them 2 and the videos you made in regarding to what they both said. I can see a little bit, just a little bit, why they feel like, sometimes when you make your reaction videos, instead of like speaking on the facts behind the stigma and why what you're saying is valid, you kind of just like read everybody. You know, like you do, like instead of just like speaking on the topic specifically, you'll kind of just be like, hey girl, that's why your camera is a mess, and that's why you still living in your mama's basement. You ain't gonna get nowhere. Like, you know, you kind of turn into King of Reeds as opposed to like king of the facts. And I can see what they're saying a little bit. So like, I think if you are still doing a response video, you should, even though I know you ain't gonna see this, but I'm just saying, if you are gonna do a response video, I think you should come out. If you wanna read them, but first give the facts and talk about more in depth why you feel the way you feel, and then at the end of the video, read, okay? Because if you just come in reading, it kind of gives off like you just deflecting. As well as, I do see a little bit what King of Reads is saying. He's basically saying like, just because I have HIV, that doesn't mean that you should expect me to just come in the relationship and just disclose all my health history, but like, what about you? You think because you don't have HIV that you're free from getting tested and you're free from giving me anything, and that's not the case. And that's true. As well as he feels like it's, I mean, I see a little bit, it should be common sense, as well as it's also the partner or your partner's responsibility to, you know, care to ask questions, you know, especially if they see certain things or red flags, or not even red flags, but just like see certain things that they may deem as abnormal, or like, I notice he takes a lot of pills a lot, or, you know, just certain things. Like, ask. Don't just assume I'm gonna tell you, or don't just assume that I'm healthy. Ask me. I get that, and I see where he's coming from. I think everybody's point to that is, okay, but what if I don't ask? Are you never gonna tell me? Or are you just going to, like, what does that mean? You know, and I get that. Because that's really the question, as well as that's the point. Like, we get what you're saying, but like, if they don't ask, if they don't pick up the signs, then what happens? Do you tell them? Or do we just like stop fucking with each other? Because it's like, all right, well, he didn't ask me and I don't want to give it to him, so I'm just leave him on red and not fuck with him no more? Or do we just be like, well, he didn't tell me, or he didn't ask me, so we fucked anyway. We used protection, but he didn't ask me, so well. And I think that's everyone's point. It's like, so if they don't ask, are you still gonna put them at risk? Or is it like, if they don't ask, then you're just like, all right, you're gonna tell them on your own? Or are you just gonna be like, fuck it, they didn't ask, so I'm done. Cut it off, you know? Like, what happens when they don't ask? That's really the question I think they have. And if that's not their question, that's my question. Like, you know, because it's just like, I get it. Don't get me wrong, I get it. People should be more cautious of who they're fucking. Oh, God. I wish people were more cautious of who they're fucking, especially when it comes to procreating, but that's a whole other video. But let's just be honest. It's not fair, but it's real. Honestly, even though it's common sense to think, hey, before you fuck someone, you would ask them, or eventually ask them, like, hey, do you have HIV? Do you have AIDS? Like, let's get tested together. But if we're being real, people don't do that. Most people don't even use protection on a one-night stand. So people definitely ain't out here asking like someone that they just met that they're trying to fuck, like, hey, before we fuck, like, you got HIV? Nobody's doing that. Should we? Hell yeah. But are we? No, we're not. So if we're not doing that, which we should, I get it. King Reed is right. That's why I say I see both sides, because he's right. We should. Why are we not doing that? But we're not. I don't know. We're not. We're just not. He's right. We should. But let's be honest. We're not. And if we're not, what does that mean, King? Like, does that mean that you're going to not tell us anyway? Or you're just like, okay, you're going to give them so long to ask, and if they don't ask, then eventually you're going to tell them? Or are you just going to cut them off completely? Like, what does that mean if they don't ask? Because a lot of people don't. Some states, that's a crime. So it's like, I do see what Ab Preach is saying when they say that information, or, you know, saying that, at least the way you said it, could be harmful to some, because that gives some who already feel like they don't need to disclose their sexual diseases or, you know, history, whatever. It already gives them an out, like, okay, well, you know, Justin said we don't gotta say nothing, so I'm not saying shit, okay? And, you know, like I said, I agree with Justin. both parties should be responsible to ask to get tested. But realistically, especially in this community, we don't do that. So it's kind of like, let's be realistic, people don't. So is it fair to say, well, just if they get the disease, it's their fault because they didn't ask? You know, I don't know. These are just questions. I really don't know. But this is my response. This is my reaction to it. Like I said, we stuck in the house, so I was just like, let's do some content to this. I've been watching these videos all week anyway. I'm not giving my opinion. But you know, I do think that overall, I see everybody's point. However, if you do have health issues, especially health issues that are transferable to other people, especially on top of that, it can kill people. Or HIV doesn't kill people, but it can lead to AIDS, which kills people. But also, you know, HIV in itself is it's a lot. You know, I don't know, I don't personally have it, but it's a lot to have. You know, it's a lot to deal with having it. So like, I personally don't think it's fair to not tell them. I do think, like I said, I agree with Justin that both parties should get tested. But realistically, people don't do that, especially in this community. So I don't really know or think, no, fuck that. I don't think it's fair to just say like, well, if they don't ask, fuck it, just fuck them anyway and get it over with. I don't think that's what Justin's saying. I don't think that's what he's saying, but he didn't really give an answer to it. So it's kind of like, what are you saying? So I hope if he does make a reaction video, he does give us an answer to that, because it's like, if we don't ask, then what does that mean? Because a lot of us, but a lot of people in general, but especially us, don't ask. So what does that mean if we don't ask? Subscribe if you want to, like this video if you like it, comment down below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and I'll be back with more videos this week. We on lockdown, so y'all may not like me because I got a lot of opinions, okay?